What is up, crew? Welcome to Seek the Edge with me, Kelsey Lensman, where our mission is to challenge you outside of your comfort zone so you can step into the God-given potential inside. And that's for you, the person listening to this, not for your friend, not for your family member, but you. You have more potential in you than you could even imagine. And my goal is to challenge you, love you, but challenge you into that next level. And today's topic is going to challenge you. It's going to encourage you and show you the pathway of what it takes to get there. And it is courage over comfort. This is not just a pump you up message. I'm going to pull in some research studies and some data to back up what I've learned experientially. There's a lot of data scientifically to back this up. And to first introduce the topic of courage, there's many quotes out there about people being fearless, or those that succeed, they're just fearless. And usually it's some dramatic music that leads up to it, like, oh, just be fearless. And those were always very inspirational to me because, oh, that sounds cool to be fearless, right? However, when I looked at my life, there was a disconnect because fear was something I consistently wrestled with. Fear, doubt, I had the butterflies in my stomach signing up for that thing or stepping into that meeting. I had that first initial thought of what if I can't? Fear was constantly something that I wrestled with. And as it sounded cool to be fearless, it felt like, man, I guess I just don't have it. The ones that succeed are just born without fear. And I guess the ones that are like me, they have more fear. And over the course of my own journey, I realized it wasn't about striving for this fearlessness. It wasn't this constant, I can't wait to be fearless. It was about a different word that everybody has the capability to step into. But this one specific word is the word for those that break through that next level to that next level. This is the place where they step into. And that word is courage. Courage is the ability to do something even in the midst of fear. The more podcasts I listen to, the more biographies I read about individuals that are reaching that next level. It wasn't that throughout their life they never endured fear or they never felt fear. It wasn't that throughout their entire life they never had adversity or obstacles. It wasn't that throughout their entire life they felt 100% confident about the decisions or the trajectory that they were headed. It was that every single one of them felt some type of fear, doubt, or hesitation, but they did it anyway. And what I realized is it's not about getting rid of that fear or waiting to be fearless, but it's about having the courage to do it anyway. And from a faith lens, the more that I'm really diving into that, there is a possibility to be fearless. There is a possibility to step into the identity that He's created us to be, to walk in authority and not have fear. However, through many people's experiences, fear is a real and constant thing. But fear, just like a few podcasts ago when I talked about returning to driving after my accident, fear doesn't get to make decisions for you. Fear doesn't get to tell you where you're going in your life. Fear doesn't get to be in the driver's seat. You can put fear in the back seat. It can still ride with you for a little bit, but it does not get to be in the driver's seat. And why we talk about this is because we live in the most comfortable time in human history. Yet growth doesn't come from comfort. It comes from courage. And on the other side of courage, the real you is born. A couple years back, I read a book called The Comfort Crisis by Michael Easter. And if you've listened to the podcast of The Science of Doing Hard Things, this is the book that I talked about a lot. But some statistics really stuck out for me. And one was that Americans spend 93% of their life indoors. 93% of their life indoors. The average person sits, if you're on YouTube watching me, it's exactly what I'm doing. They sit for 6.5+ hours a day. And only about 20% of adults get enough physical activity weekly. The issue of this is a lot of that is linked to obesity. A lot of that is linked to anxiety, to depression, and just overall reduced resilience. Many people think, well, if I stay comfortable, that my life will be easier. And what they don't realize is because they're pursuing comfort, their life is actually harder. Think of this, a really easy way to explain this is working out, right? Working out is uncomfortable. When I wake up and to go physically exert myself in the morning, people think I wake up and I just have butterflies around my bed, lifting me up out of bed and getting me motivated and excited for the day. It's like, no, I wake up just like every single one of you. My alarm goes off. I don't want it to go off. I'm comfy with my dog. But to physically exert myself in the morning, I have to overcome that resistance of wanting to stay comfortable, of wanting to stay in my comfy bed, of wanting to continue to cuddle my dog, but instead I'm choosing to go work out, get my heart rate up, push past the point that I want to give up. And if I were to choose the easy route, my easy route is stay in bed and never work out. The easy now is the harder later. The harder later is me not feeling the way that I want to feel, my health decreasing, my outlook on life, my overall emotional state and mental state not being as great. And so if I choose comfort now, that's actually leading to a lot more discomfort and long-term discomfort later. However, if I choose discomfort now, if I do the hard thing first, that's going to lead to increased mental state, me feeling more like myself throughout the day, me actually being healthier, being fitter, being able to go walk and run with my dog. Like the things in the life that I want to experience, because I choose the hard thing first, it's making my life a lot easier in the long term. And that's where discomfort avoidance comes in. When we constantly are seeking that comfort, it actually leads to higher stress when challenges arise. If I try to continually pursue comfort, pursue what feels good in the moment, pursue that thing that makes me warm and cozy and comfortable 24/7, that is actually leading to a weaker, less resilient version of me. And I'm not saying every single morning you gotta wake up and you gotta work until you can't work anymore. I'm not a part of that grind culture, but I am a part of you being realistic and me being honest and realistic with you about what it takes, because culture nowadays just wants to make you feel comfortable. Culture nowadays just wants to make you feel like, oh, you're good, when really we have the highest rates of anxiety and depression that we've ever had. And so if I were to listen to culture, that's not taking me down a trajectory that I personally want to go down. And so I would rather be honest with you, not just from my experience and subjectivity, but what is the data actually saying with this? And so comfort feels safe, but science shows that it's slowly killing our resilience. There's many studies with regards to fasting or cold exposure, cold plunges, or hard exercise, that it improves not only just mental toughness, but your mental state in general and overall long-term well-being. Every woman that I've talked to that have joined a coaching program or that have just gotten to work out, they're like, Kelsey, I feel so much better mentally. Like there is a direct correlation there with it. And so we do live in the comfort crisis. I'm not saying go and bare knuckle it and sleep outside and live outside and make your life really hard just to make it hard. But because we live in such a comfortable society, we have to lean into that discomfort a little bit. And so let's define courage and comfort. What comfort looks like in every day, it looks like staying safe, avoiding risks, not really pursuing or pushing any limits. Why we love it is because it's safe, it's easy, meaning we've done it before, and it's predictable. There is no risk. Remember, your brain absolutely loves your comfort zone. Okay. I still love watching TV with my dog. I still do comfortable things that I enjoy, right? However, my brain likes me staying in bed versus going to work out. Why? Because staying in bed, that is very predictable. I know that I'm safe. My brain knows that I'm safe. My brain knows that it doesn't have to exert energy. My brain, or more energy, my brain knows that, hey, Kels is good here. Okay. Just because my brain thinks it's good doesn't mean it's good for me in the long term. Subjectively and scientifically, if I go do the thing outside of my comfort zone, go work out and go physically exert myself, yeah, that is a little bit less predictable. When I get my heart rate up and my heart's pounding out of my chest, or I go push that weight that I don't think that I could do, my brain doesn't necessarily like that as much, not because it's not good for me, but because it is less known, because it is, even if it's not actual lack of safety, my brain perceives it as more of a lack of safety. And so what courage looks like, if comfort is staying safe, avoiding risk, not pushing limits, doing what is easy and predictable and known, what courage looks like is stepping into uncertainty. It's doing the hard or the right thing even when you're scared. It's between where you're at and where you ideally want to be, whether that be a certain conversation or a relationship or whatever is on the other side, a fitness level. The gap between those is courage. I did a team call a couple years ago about the courage bridge. And this visual, I'm just a visual person. It popped up into my brain. And I had an island of where you're at, and then another island towards where you want to be, and a bridge between those islands, which I called the courage bridge. And this is where, as I walked through that courage bridge, there's no way to that other island but through. As I went over and through that courage bridge, it got me to where I wanted to be. And the reason your brain does not like it is because it requires vulnerability. It requires you being bad at something initially. It's very unpredictable. If you start a business, if you sign up for that event, if you join that lifting comp, yeah, you might fail on the other side, which fails a whole, I don't even think failure is failure. I think of it as, all right, that's the way to not do something. Or, hey, what do I need to do differently? But your brain doesn't like it. It does not like it. Does that mean that it's not meant for you? No. Just because your brain, your safety mechanism doesn't like it, doesn't mean that it gets to make decisions there. And there's a quote from Brene Brown. She has many books. I'd imagine a lot of you have heard of her books before. But she's the quote, "Courage starts with showing up and letting ourselves be seen." Courage starts with showing up and letting ourselves be seen. That being seen, we're not going to dig into this, but that's a big fear for a lot of people. And I'll be very honest with you, that's something that I'm even currently working on from more of an emotional lens, is having the courage to communicate with people in my life that I genuinely really care about, how I actually feel. I was the I can tough it out girl. I was the nothing bothers me girl. I had this tougher exterior layer because from more self-protection, but that doesn't mean that it serves me. To be in a relationship someday that I value, I need to be okay with being emotionally open, with not feeling like I need to be my own self-protector or be afraid to be hurt. I have to be willing to be seen. And when we talk about courage, it's not just from a fitness standpoint. There's courage in multiple areas of your life that you get to exude, that you have to strengthen. And for me, this is one of them that I'm currently working on right now. And so I'm not preaching at you, I'm talking with you from experience, but also perspective of what I'm actually working on to this day. And from a faith perspective, is courage is not the absence of fear. It's trust and God's call through the fear. There's a verse, Joshua 1:9. It says, have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Multiple times, hundreds of times actually, he talks about do not be afraid, or he talks about fear to some capacity, because I think he knew that fear was one of the biggest emotions that we're going to have to wrestle with here. And through the scriptures, he talks about do not fear, talks about be strong, be courageous. And so even from a faith lens, he knew that you were going to wrestle with fear. He knew that that was something that was going to potentially stop you from what he has called you to do. And so you don't just have to allow yourself to work through that fear. You also get to know that he's with you in that step that you take. He's there to comfort you. He's there to be with you in that. And so some of the rewards of choosing courage is there's a psychology of this. Actually, how your brain is wired, there's a psychology behind courage. And studies show how small acts of courage actually build confidence loops in your brain. I want you to think about this when you were a kid. When you started to walk, you fell down, right? But then you had courage again to take that step. And then you probably took a few steps and then you fell down. But as you continually took small steps or small acts of courage, it built that confidence loop within you of, oh, I might be able to walk better. Oh, now I can actually walk a few steps. Oh, now I can actually walk and I don't have to worry about falling as much. It builds this confidence. Now, I would imagine for those that are able-bodied right now, you don't doubt your ability to walk, God willing. You wake up, you jump out of bed, you go brush your teeth. Walking is just something you do. It's not a confidence that is needing to be built. But because you took that small act of courage when you were younger, it built this confidence loop within you through it. And this is the ethos of belief grows through action. Belief grows through action. Your personal growth, the confidence comes from doing what you are afraid of, doing what is uncomfortable, having that be the North Star, stepping into that next level version. And I want to make sure that I am not painting a picture of make your life incredibly hard, that I'm not painting a picture of like, oh, you're gonna have to muscle through it the whole time, because that's not the case. Because what I have anecdotally realized through my own life is as I've taken the courage bridge to that next step, to a desire that I have, to an area of growth that I want to pursue, my life becomes more fulfilling. My life becomes more exciting. My life becomes just more vibrant. And so, yes, I'm going to have to lean into that discomfort and grow through that discomfort. But it's not this like drudgery that I think sometimes when people think like do the hard thing that they tend to link up with. Okay. I'm talking about you. You get to be pulled to a better version of you. You get to be pulled to a more fulfilling life, a more courageous life. And I have leaned into more fear over the past couple years than ever. And in that fear, there's going to be some low lows, but man, I've experienced so many high highs. I've experienced so much more fulfillment, so much more impact. And so that's what I want to call you to this. The physical benefits of courage is it improves your grit, your stamina, and overall your mental health. Mental health is something that is talked wildly about in today's day and age. And it's not talked enough about as you physically exert yourself, as you get your own self fit, your mental clarity will be better. Your confidence within yourself will be better. Your belief within yourself will be better. And some life benefits about choosing courage. There's better opportunities. Doors will open when you step out. There's bigger opportunities. There's deeper relationships. There's stronger faith. The visual that I just got up in my brain is when Jesus called Peter out onto the water, and he was very nervous, very fearful, took a step. He took his eyes off Jesus, and then what happened? Fear flooded his body. And he said, hey, redirect. This is Kelsey's version, but like, look at me. He redirected his gaze upon him, and then he continued to take a step and actually walked on water, right? When you take a step out onto the courage bridge, people can do this by themselves, right? But if you are a person of faith, and if you are a person that believes, when you take a step out in faith and you have your eyes transfixed on who is calling you out, it will build your faith up more then than ever. The times that I have felt closest to God and with my faith are the times that I took the leap that I felt like he was calling me to take and was obedient with it. But man, was I afraid. Man, was I scared. And my trust had to be in him. I had to build it within myself to give confidence with myself that, okay, you can do it, girl. But more than anything, my confidence in my obedience came from, all right, I got to rely on you. And so those that just stay safe their entire life, they're not building up that muscle as much of that reliance on something bigger than them. When they constantly do things that they know that they can do, that they are confident with their ability, they don't need the God ability to come in as much. And so when you do something in courage, when you do something that is outside of your comfort zone, there are going to be times where you cannot just rely on yourself. You cannot just rely on your previous history. You cannot just be self-reliant. When you do something that is so outside of that comfort zone, that's where God reliance comes in. And for somebody like me that is can have a tendency to be self-reliant, to go into that mindset, when you do that thing and realize God reliance is needed, it gets you out of yourself so much and puts you into perspective. And so here is a few practical ways to live courage over comfort. Is first of all, micro decisions. Train when you don't want to. Say yes to the challenges. Speak the truth. Make those small micro decisions of choosing the thing that is hard now for the easy later. Choosing the conversations that you want to push off to tomorrow, but you know that you need to and should do it today. You lean into that discomfort, you do not push off. Also, your environment matters. Can be incredibly helpful. When you surround yourself with people, that's why I'm big about our events and just community in general. Because when I've surrounded myself with people that stretch themselves, that are continuing to grow in other areas of their life, it stretches me. It calls me to courage. And one of the main reasons why I pursued building a business or the things that I have is because I saw others doing it, that I'm like, well, if they could do it, I might be able to do it too. It broke a belief of, instead of me thinking they were just on a pedestal that I didn't have the abilities to, I saw their story and I'm like, wait, that kind of reminds me of my story. Wait, okay, if they're doing that thing, maybe I'm able to do that thing. Surround yourself with people that stretch you. And have a faith anchor. Courage is not just willpower. Courage is leaning on God when you do not feel ready. And before I wrap up, I want you to pause to answer this question. Is where am I choosing comfort right now? What part of my life that I know I can feel it in my gut that I want this other thing, or that I'm drawn to this other thing, or that I want an expanded version of this? But man, is that scary. Or, oh, That's not my normal right now. Ask myself, am I choosing comfort? Or am I stepping into truly what that potential is within inside? And I remember there's a competitor at one of our events, our all women's lifting events, named Becky. And I remember, she was so nervous to step in that gym. It was an all women's lifting event. You have 3 attempts for a max weight. I think that one was a full squat, bench, and deadlift. She was in her late 60s, early 70s at this time. And this is the first time she ever did anything like this. And man, was she uncomfortable. And she said, Kels, I'll be honest with you. I do not want to do this right now. She goes, I don't feel capable. I don't feel like I'm able to. I don't feel like there is anything within me that I'm able to actually step on that platform. And I said, Beck, I was like, take a deep breath. I was like, remember, trust your training. You got this. Believe in yourself here, and you'll be capable of more than you could imagine. And guess what she did? She stepped on that platform. She deadlifted over 200 pounds. Massive PR for her. And I told her, you just created living proof that you did something that you didn't think that you could do. Now you have a history book on your life of something that scared you, of something that, that felt uncomfortable, but you did it anyway, and now look how proud of yourself that you are of you. And so if I can close here, courage is where belief is built. Your comfort zones, they don't produce growth. I'm not saying uproot every area of your life. Please hear me loud and clear. Do not uproot every area of your life. This does not mean quit your job tomorrow and go move to Hawaii. But what I am saying is courage is in the small. It's in the 1 degree, 1% shifts. It's in the, hey, what's worked for me then is not working for me now. And as a follow-up, I want you to think about that one area that you're choosing comfort over courage. And allow yourself to make that 1 degree shift, to lean into that discomfort, because man, the fulfillment on the other side is going to be too great. So I'm going to end with this, that limits are meant to be tested, not accepted. Love you guys. Have an amazing rest of your week. Send this to somebody that needs to hear this message, and I'll see you soon.